Hi everybody, Vince from Brighton Music Center here. We're going to go through our basic guitar setup today. Our customer came in, they were complaining the frets are a little buzzy, there's a rattle in the headstock and it just doesn't play well. They also need some new strings. So, first thing we do is just visually check over the instrument, verify their issues. We do have some rattle in the frets. If I sight down the strings, I see the neck is actually curved back a little bit. So, and then they had a rattle up top. Okay, we got some loose nuts here, so the washers are vibrating. Easy fix when we get the strings off. We'll take care of that. First thing I do is visually check over the rest of the guitar. The bridge is pulled up a hair, so we'll go ahead and adjust the spring tension on the back to level that out. That'll make it play a little better after we get everything adjusted. No other visual issues. Let's go ahead and plug it in and see what we got electronically. Volume works okay, selector switch is good, and tone is functional. No noise, no crackles. Jack seems solid. We're okay there, don't need to do anything with that. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rough fix the truss rod. We need to adjust it a little more specifically once we get everything restrung. I am going to string it with the same gauge strings that are on it, so it shouldn't be a major adjustment, but I just want to get it back in the ballpark here. So basically we take an Allen wrench into the truss rod here, and we are back. So what I want to do is loosen the truss rod a little, and that'll let the strings pull the neck forward. So just small adjustments on that. What I'm going to do is check first fret. It's a 17th fret, and that creates a straight line on the string. And we'll just see there's a little clearance. It's still touching, so we need to bring it up a hair more. We don't have any clearance at all, so it's still going to buzz. Okay, and it looks like we've gone neutral, so there's no tension on the rod. It is a double action truss rod, so we're going to pull it a little further so that it starts pulling the neck forward a little, because the strings aren't pulling enough on it. If it had a heavier gauge string, it would probably pull it up a little bit more. But we have 9s on here, so it's not pulling as much tension. Got a hair of clearance. I'd like a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so that cleared up the truss rod issue. It's not buzzing anymore. Next step, we'll take the strings off and get it all cleaned up. Check the fingerboard. So we'll just detune everything. Take the tension off. Then I'll just go ahead and snip these off. Pull the other end out the back side. This is the standard setup for most Fender Stratocasters. Anything with a tremolo bridge that is not a Floyd Rose, which is a much more advanced, complicated mechanism. Balls are jammed in there. They've been in there a while. Just poke a pin in there to loosen everything up. The old strings, wrap them up so we can recycle them. Next step I want to do is, there's a lot of schmutz on the fingerboard, so we want to clean that up. First thing I do is just get some cleaner, Dunlop 65. Just spray it on the fingerboard, a nice clean rag, and just clean it real good. Get all the finger marks. There's usually a lot of buildup in the seam between the fret. Sometimes it's a quick job, sometimes people never clean their instruments, so it's real gross. This is a newer instrument, so it's not too bad. I got the most of the gook off there. Next step, I'm going to polish the frets with a fret eraser. It's basically a sandpaper block. This is 2000 grit. So you'll usually have some tarnish and stuff on the frets, and just want to kind of clean that off. These ones are pretty good, but sometimes, again, if your body pH is real acidic, it'll really react with the nickel silver and really turn your frets green. And also, if you have any wear on your frets, this will even out some little ridges. Next thing I want to do is condition the fingerboard. This is F1 oil. A lot of people use lemon oil. The F1 has a little bit of cleaner in it too, so I like to use it. and it hydrates the wood. Go ahead and just work that in to the wood. I'm going to let it sit for a little while. Next step is to clean the guitar. Paintbrush is a great thing to get in the nooks and crannies to get all the dust out. That in the pickup cavities here, there's usually a ton of dirt, and then inside the bridge. If it's real bad, I may disassemble the bridge. Then we're going to clean the oil off the fingerboard, the excess. And this particular product, F1 oil, does a nice job fine polishing the frets as well. He had the Buzzy Nuts on here, so what we want to do is just tighten up the ferrules on the tuning machines here. Not too tight, but tight enough they don't vibrate or buzz. A couple of loose ones here, so we got some buzzy washers. Next step, restring through the magic of editing, and it's done. So next thing we want to look at is our geometry of the bridge. First thing we're going to do is figure out the radius of the fingerboard. There's a curve to it. So we grab our radius gauge. Okay, it looks like we're at a 12-inch radius here. What we need to do is get the strings set to that same curvature. So we take our radius gauges, find the 12-inch, I'm going to slide it under the strings and pull it up here and see that everything's touching. That one's high, that one's high, and those two are okay. So what I need to do is adjust the height of those two. You got that set. Pull that back out. Next thing we want to do is check the intonation of the string. So basically, the heavier the string, the longer the string needs to be to intonate correctly. So the way to check that is comparing our 12th fret pitch with a harmonic, which is open, to the stopped 12th fret pitch, just to get it the same. It's such a subtle difference, you can't really do it by ear. So what I'm going to do is plug into my strobe tuner here, which will basically tell me what the pitch is really specifically. So, like that, and I'm a little sharp. Okay, so we're in tune now to the open strings, in tune to a perfect E. Now I'm going to press the fret down here on the octave E, which is actually running a little bit sharp. So I need to make the string a little bit longer. On your bridge here, we have these saddles which you can adjust via a screw. First thing you want to do is you want to take the tension off the string so that it will move easily. Tighten the screw, which will pull the saddle back, which will essentially make the string a little bit longer. Okay, I'm going to bring it back up to pitch. Double check. E. Okay, so that was it. We're set there. We'll double check the other strings. So they're all set. Our intonation's good on all our strings. Now, one problem I'm seeing right now is also that my bridge is way up. That should be level to the body. You can see that. This is up. I want it to be down about there. So the strings are pulling it forward. So there's springs inside the back here. This plate has a cutaway so that you can easily access those springs without disassembling. So we're just going to tighten up the screws in the back here, and that will pull the springs this direction, which will counter the pull of the strings. Of course, now we changed the geometry so the pitch is going to be out again. A little better, but we still got some way to go here. So put another 3 turns, which is really probably about 1 revolution of the screw. Much like the truss rod in the neck with the bridge, you got it pulling backwards and the strings are pulling it forward, so you got to equalize the pressure of the two. Sometimes it's easy to do, sometimes it takes a lot longer. With a Floyd Rose bridge, the springs tension is very light, so that takes a lot of adjustment and takes significantly more time. Close to pitch there, and we're nice and even on the bridge, so that's good to go. Next thing I want to double check is my nut height on the 1st fret. So typically, if you push down the 3rd fret, you should have maybe 10 to 15 thousandths clearance on that 1st fret, and everything's looking good there. It was playing okay, so I wasn't concerned about it, but something I always check. Next step, we just do a final cleanup, and we'll use that rag. It has oil on it. Just give the guitar a wipe down. Clean her up again. Dunlop 65, real nice product. Also, Nomad 1 cleaner's a nice one I like to use as well. Just getting all our fingerprints off. Any smudges that I may have got on it here while doing the work. Usually guitars collect a bit of dust here in the shoulders just because people leave them out on a stand or hanging on the wall and they collect up there. So make sure you get that. Clean the neck. Make sure there's no thumb residue or anything. They kept that pretty clean. So we're good there. One final tune up and then we'll do a play test. That's all there is to it. Takes a skilled hand and some time to get the hang of everything, but got a good playing guitar when you're done. Thanks for watching. See you next time.